Hi, welcome to my video on finding monomial expression. Finding monomial expressions or expressions. I put an S1, but we're going to do many problems. Practice means pause your video and work out each of these pages yourself and then play it back to see if you're going to get it right. Let's start. 6x and 2x are monomial expressions. Find their sum. So the sum means add. So we're going to take 6x and add on 2x. And so when we add like terms, we add the numbers and keep the term. Keep the literal coefficient. Find their product. 6x. I could put brackets. I could put 6x with a dot. 2x. Sometimes when you put 6x and put a times there, the times is not y's here because you got x's. So either put them in brackets or put a dot. The dot in the middle means multiplication. So 6 times 2 is 12. X times x is x squared. Because when you multiply, you add your exponents. Multiply your numbers, multiply your variables. Number 2, find the product of each and state its degree. Let's find the product here. We got monomials. So 4 times 2 is 8, and that's a 1, and x to the 1 times x cubed, you add to get a 4. And its degree, the degree of a monomial is the highest degree. You got to add up your exponents. A degree of a polynomial is you got to find the degree of each term and take the largest one. Again, you always take the largest one, the degree of the largest term. So if you only got one term, there's only one you got to do. But when you got more terms, you got to get the degree of the largest term. That's the degree of the polynomial. That's easy. So since I only have a 4 here, the degree of this is 4. The degree is the exponent, or the sum of the exponents. B, multiply. Negative 3 times 5, negative 15. X times x, 1 plus 1 is 2. 1 plus 2 is 3. When you multiply, you add your exponents. Now the degree here, we have a 2 and we have a 3. We add up our exponents to get the degree of this term is 5. Because you add, to get the degree of a term, you add up the exponents. To get the degree of a polynomial, you get the degree of each term and pick the largest degree. So you still have to get the degree of each term and get the largest. But when there's only one, then it's easy, just add up the exponents. And this is 4 times 1, that's a 1 there, that's 4. That's a 1 plus 1 is 2 when you add. B is 2, and that's a 1, that's a 3. C is 3, and 4 makes 7. So when you multiply, you add your exponents. And the degree of this monomial is, the exponents are 2 and 3 and 7. 2, 3, and 7 adds up to give you 12. So the degree of that monomial is 12, the sum of the exponents. D, we're going to multiply. Negative times negative is a positive. 8 times 10 is 80. And we have a 1 and a 1 and a 2. So we add to get 4. And the degree is only one exponent, so the degree is 4. Number 3, find the parameter of each as a monomial expression in simplest form. So we have to make sure it's simplified. Notice we have a triangle that's 1, 2, 3 sides equal by the strokes. So that means I can do two things. I can go, the perimeter means add up the sides. So add the sides, sum of. So I can go 5x squared plus 5x squared plus 5x squared, which is 15x squared. But a shortcut would be to say there's 3 of them here, so that's 3 times 5x squared. And 3 times 5 is 15. So you can add them up, or you can go 3 times, your choice. Because the formula for parameter in an equilateral triangle is what? P equals 3 S, where S is the side. So if you put 3 there, and there's your S, you substitute in 5x squared into place of there and put brackets around it, well, what you're doing is similar to the evaluation, but you're substituting into a formula. And we want to find the parameter of this one. So this is a rectangle. Notice, and opposite sides are equal. So that's a 7xy, and that's a 4xy, because in a rectangle, opposite sides are equal. So we can add all these up, or we can say we got a 7x squared, and we multiply by 2, and we got a x squared. We have a 7xy, so we multiply by 2, and multiply the other side by 2. And that gives us 14xy, 8xy, and add, I get 22xy. Or I could write them all down as 7xy plus 4xy plus 7xy plus 4xy, and add them all up to get 22. Or I just double each of them. Your choice. C, again, all the sides are equal by the strokes. So I get 4 times 8x. That's the better, faster way to do it. 4 times 8 is 32. That's the quick way. Now we have a rectangular figure. Try to keep it straight here. I have all right angles in the corners, so these are all rectangles. Let's see how we're going to work the perimeter of this one. Well, we got those two sides are equal, right? We got this side is equal to that side, and this one equals this one equals this one. So how am I going to get around this? Well, I got a 10x there. They're equal. And how do I get the length of this one, and this one? Well, if that's a 12, and that equals that, that's 3 of them. So 12x divided by 3 gives you 4x. So that means that's 4x, and that's 4x, and that's 4x. And how do I get the length of this? Well, I didn't give you anything to get it, so I don't have anything here. So, sorry, but I'm going to put a number in here. I'm going to put a 7x on that, because when I was rewriting it, I forgot to put the 7x in. So if that's a 7x, because I forgot to put it in, I'm putting it in now. And that's a 7x, because these are equal. Now the perimeter is go all the way around as if you're walking around it and work these out. So I have 2x, or 10x. I have 3x to the fourths. Or I have 4x's, x to the fourth, 3 4x's. And I have 2 7x's. So 2 of those, done. 1, 2, 3, done. And 2, and I also have a 12x. So 12x, 2 10x's, 3 4x's, and 2 7x's. So I have to multiply by bid mass first. So that's a 20. That's a 12x. That's a 14x. And a 12x. 32, 46, 58 all together when I add them up. Sorry about leaving out that 7x. Sometimes when you're making these up, you think you got everything covered, but again, be careful. I make mistakes. Sorry for that. And we have a practice again. Let's continue to work these out. Pause the video and work these out. Here we go. Find the area this time. Area means multiply in simplest form. So the area, this is a rectangle. So we know the area to be length times width, LW. So that could be length times width. You could write L, W, or that way, your choice. The length is longer, so the 11x is longer, and put these in brackets. If you put the multiplication sign there, put the x's, you might have trouble. Be careful. So it's better to put these in brackets. And multiply, you get 33x squared. Area, you got to multiply. Length times width, base times height. A triangle formula, area is half the base times the height. That's the base. So we sub in 10x squared. And the height is 6x. Sub that in. So if I write down my formula and then sub in, I have a better chance to get it right. The area, now I can multiply a half by 10. Cancel that out to get a 5. And 5 times 6 is 30. And x squared times x is x cubed. Because when you multiply, you add your exponents. So the area of this triangle as a monomial is 30x cubed. And we have notice we have parallel sides here indicated by the arrows. So that means we have a parallelogram. The area of a parallelogram is what we call base times height. And the base is the bottom length, one of the parallel lines, 4xy cubed. And the height is the perpendicular to the base, that's the base, is 9xy. And multiply that out, 4 9s is 36. X times x is x squared. And y cubed times y is y4. Remember, that's a 1, a 1, and a 1. Simplified. And I have a 4 right angles and 2 sides equal. Well, if these 2 sides are equal, they're adjacent sides. And this is a rectangle. We know that this side is equal to this one. And we know that that side is equal to that one. Because this is a rectangle, like up here. That's 11x, that's 11x. If that's 3x, that's 3x. Because in a rectangle, opposite sides are equal. So since these 2 sides are equal, they're all equal. That means this is a square. So the formula for a square, you could use length times width, right? Or you could say for a square is the side squared, which is 6 in brackets squared. 6 times 6 is 36. X times x is x squared. Remember, you could have wrote down length times width, because the length is 6x and the width is 6x. Because if that's 6x, that's 6x, and that's 6x, and that's 6x. So you can treat this as a rectangle and do length times width and get 36x squared. Or you can write down the true formula most people use is s squared instead of length times width, because these are not the same. Here, all the sides are the same, so we just say s squared. That's it. And number 5, find the area of the shaded regions. Shaded, that means we gotta add or subtract. So that's a 10x. This side is a 10x because we got a rectangle. And if that side is 2 strokes and that side is 2 strokes, that means that that's 4x. And that equals that equals that. These are 1 strokes on these sides. A little bit shaded in there. That means that these are all x's. So that's an x right there. I won't put it in there because that's an x. Because that equals that equals that. Now, to get the area of this is, notice we have a small and a large. So let's write L for large and S for small. Areas. And so, if that's 4x, and that's an x, and that's a 4x, so all the way across is 4 plus 1 plus 4. That means that's a 9x from here to here, right straight across. So the large one is a rectangle length times width, so it's 10x times 9x, length times width. And that's a 90x squared. Again, the length, 10x, is longer than 9x. So we put the length for 10x, 9x, 90x squared. And the small one is also it's different lengths. So that's the small one is what? That's an X, that's an X, and that's an X. So this has to be an X because this is a square. So that means the area is S squared. So that's X is the side. So the area is just X squared. And we add these together, we get 91X squared for the total area of the shaded region. Again, just doing something different to help you think. And B, now we do the shaded region, but there's a hole in the middle or a box in the middle, so we have to take away, subtract. So let's find the areas. So we have the length and the width. We know that's 12x there. We know there's 8x there, opposite sides equal. We know that in this one that's 3x and that's a 3x because opposite sides are equal. 2x, 2x, opposite sides are equal. So, but in area, let's get the large one, L. The area of the large one, and it's a rectangle. So the length is 12x. The width is 8x. Why? Because this is the length. Reason is that if you put a 1 in here, 12 times 1 is 12, 8 times 1 is 8. So 12 is bigger than 8 in terms of numbers. But substituting some numbers in for x, you'll tell that's the length and that's the width. And you can also say, well, that's longer than that, so that's why it's the length. Yes, but as I said, 12 is bigger than 8 in terms of the term. So that's 96x squared when you multiply. Now, the small one is, this is a rectangle because that's 3x is longer than 2x. Length times width. I got an L there. Oh, let's use a big L. I could use a small L if I want. And the length is 3x and the width is 2x. Length and width. Multiply 6x squared. Now, the shaded region, let's put shaded there, just to make sure the shaded area or region is, here it's a subtraction. So the shaded here is the large one. Subtract the small one. Here I added them. Here I have to subtract them. It's the large, subtract the small to get the shaded area. And that's a 90x squared when I subtract. Here you add the two of them together. Here you have to subtract them. And notice I'm working with the monomials, which is not hard to subtract. And keep practicing. Work these out. Pause the video. See if you can work these out and then play it back to see if you're okay. Here we go. A square has a parameter of 24xy squared. Find its area as a monomial in simplest form. So a square has a parameter. Find its area. So if we have a square, which is all sides equal with all right angles, a square has all the sides equal with all right angles. That means the parameter is P equals 4S, because that's S and an S and an S and an S. If you add them up, you get 4 S's. So if you think about it, the parameter is 24xy squared. So if we put that in the place of P, let's work out the S. So it makes sense that if the 4 of these are the same, if I divide by 4, I will have the length of each side. So dividing 4 into 24, that means each side is 6x squared. Pretend that that's a parameter is 40. So if you had 40, you would divide it by 4 and get 10. So why not take the parameter here, which is 24xy squared, and divide by 4? That gives us 6xy squared. Now, it says, what's the area? So the area is S squared. Remember, the area is length times width. So S is 6xy squared. And we're going to square it. So we sub in 6xy squared in place of S, and we square it. 6 6 is the 36. x times x is x squared. Y squared times y squared is y4. Or, remember, 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4 because of power of a power. So the answer is 36 x squared y squared as a monomial in simplest form. Just working the math. Using, working, know your skills. Remember, we practiced division. Now we're putting it all together. And there's a whole set of videos on working out parameters and areas and all that. But that's working with numbers. And working with numbers is easier than working with variables. Number 7, find the volume of each as a monomial expression in simplest form. So we want to find the volume of a cube at a side or an edge of 5x. So if a cube is like this, there's a cube and all the edges. So that means that that's 5x, that edge is 5x, and that edge is 5x. So that's what they call the bottom is the length and the width, and that's the height. But you notice that a cube, the volume is the length times the width times the height. Or because if we do it that way, we got 5x, 5x, and 5x. Length times width is the bottom, because the bottom is, think of the bottom as a rectangle or a square. So that gives me 125, 5 times 5 times 5, x cubed. Another way, when you get a cube, the volume of a cube is s to the third power. Like a square, the area is s squared. Notice why it's a square. Because when you multiply 2 dimensions together, you get, like 5 times 5 is 5 squared. 7 times 7 is 7 squared. When you're doing volume is 3 dimensions. So you get a length times a width times a height. So you get a cube. Volume is cube, area is square. So you have 5x cubed. That's an s now, not a 5. So 5s cubed is 5x times 5x times 5x. If you want to write it all the way out, go ahead. If you're doing it this way, and you'll get 125x cubed. So you go length times width times height to get it, or you can go s cubed, your choice. As long as you get it right, as long as you know what you're doing. And 7b, we got a box drawn, rectangular prism, rectangular box, solid, whatever you want to call it. Now, these are 3x, xy, and 2y squared. And the volume of the box it's not a cube, so it's a length times the width times the height. Notice multiplication is understood. And sub in. Now, don't make any difference what you call. The only one that you might want to call height is this one, because it's going up. The other two makes no difference because we don't know what the value of y is. If y was 10, then 10x is longer than 3x. But I'm not going to worry. I'm just going to put 3x there and xy there. But I do know that that's the height of the box, so I'll put it right there. And when you're multiplying, you multiply your numbers to get 6, because that's a 1. X times x is x squared, and y times y squared is y cubed. So there's the volume as a monomial in simplest form. So that's using, working out variables, multiplying, adding, working out. When you do word problems, that's using it, like in area and volume. You're using your math to help you get a better understanding of the algebra that's going to happen. So practice makes perfect. Normally, work hard, do your problems, correct your mistakes. If you like this video, then click the like button. Click the subscribe button if you're not a subscriber already. Click the notification bell, and because there's more videos coming. And write a comment if you wish. And visit my math website, mathfullyexplained.com. There you'll get information about me and videos, 3 different sections. Me has my degrees in teaching experience. The video section has the teaching strategies you're going to use to help you learn. And the content has the units that's going to be on my YouTube channel, but it also has the number of videos on each of those units. Tell you they've got 10 videos. Well, that's explaining a lot. And black font is what's online already, and the red font is what will be online in the near future. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.